everyone, it's Hailey, and today I'm going to be sharing my February TBR with you guys. I did have a rough plan for this video, and by that I mean just a list of books, but honestly, as I went to go and grab those books, I found myself just grabbing everything else, so we are just going to be kind of going off the top of my head. I have a ton of stuff here, and to be honest, a lot of it is romance. Obviously in February we have Valentine's Day, so I was kind of inspired by that, but I also am just kind of in a romance mood because I haven't really read much lately. I also have a couple of books that I was inspired by Black History Month for, which is also in February, of course, and then I have a few self-help books that I wanted to share with you guys at the end of the video. So let's just get into it. First, we have A Dash of Salt and Pepper by Kosako Jackson. I read I'm So Not Over You by this author this past year, and I did like it. I didn't fall in love with it, but it was a really interesting concept for a romance because I'd never really read one like that before. It was a second chance romance, but they had broken up, and I just hadn't really read that before. Like, I guess that is what a second chance romance is, but I always had a different idea of it in my head for whatever reason. I don't know. This one once again deals with a breakup, but it's not about the two exes. And it also deals with cooking, and I am a big fan of that, so I think this is going to be cozy and cute and delightful. Next is Alone with You in the Ether by h.leblanc. This has been super hyped up because the Atlas 6 was very hyped up, and I did read that and I enjoyed it. It wasn't kind of my typical read, but I thought it was very interesting. Now, Alone with You in the Ether is a love story, so I felt like that seemed pretty perfect for this time of year, but to be honest, I don't really know anything else about it apart from that. It says on the back, true love is just a matter of time. Alone with You in the Ether is a contemporary love story like no other, exploring the nature of love, what it means to be unwell, and how to face the fractures of ourselves and still love as if we're not broken. So I think it's going to be more of an emotional one. Next, I have a carryover from last month's TBR, and that is Hello Beautiful by Anne Napolitano. I couldn't say it last time and I still can't say it. Anne Napolitano. Why is that so hard for me? This has been everywhere. I'm pretty sure that it was Indigo's best book of the year. I don't remember, but I've just been seeing it everywhere and people loving it and talking about it nonstop. I know it's about family, probably going to be really emotional once again, but we all know I do really love an emotional read. So I'm hoping that I can get to this one very soon. Like I said last time, it says on the back, can love make a broken person whole? It feels like it's going to be very, very sad. It is a rich, complex, a family saga, a portrait of love and grief in equal measure. The first line is talking about tragedy. It feels like a lot, but I generally do like books like that. Next is Do You Take This Man by Denise Williams. I actually think I have another book by this author on here, unless I didn't grab it, but I'm pretty sure that I did. But I felt like a wedding book seemed like the perfect thing for this time of year. Obviously, weddings are like the ultimate love sign. I don't have my ring on. I just realized that. I sometimes forget because I'll take it off in the bathroom at night when I'm washing my face, and then it has not made its way back onto my finger. So that might be drama for some people. They are going to be speculating, but I promise we are fine. Anyways, this is an enemies with benefits story. There's an enemies with benefits arrangement as wedding bells chime, following an event planner and a wedding officiant. Okay, that seems actually really, really fun. Next is Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed. This is another book that I have seen everywhere and heard nothing but great things about it. It actually won the 2020 Booker Prize, so it must be good. Like, usually prize winners are ones that I like. I'm not sure about the Booker because I don't know if I've read any Booker ones, but when I read more YA, the Prince Award, I mean, I still do read YA, but not as much. But when I was really into it, anything that was like a Prince Award honoree or like nomination or winner, I ended up usually really loving. This is a story that deals with race and prejudice at the forefront of it. It is following a babysitter, and she kind of gets caught in this situation that is not exactly ideal. I don't want to know that much going into it. I want to kind of just go into it and see how I feel about it. I'm like dying of heat. For some reason, my office just retains all of the heat. And I do not know why. It is significantly warmer in here than any other room, which is so inconvenient since I film in here. Anyways, moving on, we have the Lonely Hearts Book Club by Lucy Gilmore. So I was intrigued by the title for this. I was like, oh, that seems like kind of a fun thing for Valentine's Day, you know, Lonely Hearts. Seems like a sort of Galentine's Day vibe. But I think this is more a story about friendship, and I mean, that is kind of what Galentine's Day is. But anyways, it seems like more of a story about friendship, but it seems like one that I will probably love. It's people brought together in this book club, and they are just kind of lonely people. So that just sounds absolutely beautiful. They end up connecting over books. Like, what more could you want, honestly? Next is If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy. This is a Cinderella retelling, and I actually also have a Beauty and the Beast retelling on my TBR, but since this was the first book in this sort of companion series, I felt like it was probably the one that I should start with. I've had this for a very long time and have been really wanting to read it, but just haven't yet. It's about like a shoemaker, but it's like a modern Cinderella retelling. It seems really, really fun, and that is exactly what I'm wanting right now. Next is The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. I have been wanting to read this book for quite a while because I love the concept for it. It is a romance between this famous person and their bodyguard, and it's actually kind of like flipped between what you would typically maybe expect the gender roles to be, because the bodyguard is the female character and the famous person is the male character. I'm obsessed with that, honestly. I think this could be so, so cute. Next is Mortal Follies by Alexis Hall. I've never read anything by Alexis Hall, but I think actually I have, maybe I'm getting it mixed up. No, I'm thinking of The Boyfriend Project, and this one is The Boyfriend Material. So yeah, I've never read anything by this author before, but I know it's a romance. I believe that it's sapphic, and honestly, this cover to me just screamed Valentine's Day. So I was like, yes, it seems really apropos. Next is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I also have Life's Too Short by Abby Jimenez that I would love to get to this, you know, February love romance season, but I have quite enjoyed the Abby Jimenez romances that I have read so far. So I'm excited to have 2 more to read, and this one is a novel of terrible first impressions, hilarious second chances, and the joy in finding your perfect match. Doesn't really say all that much about it. I think it does kind of start off as an enemies sort of thing, but I feel like I could still probably like it. I'm just not the hugest fan of enemies to lovers. As mentioned previously, another book by Denise Williams, so this is technically Yours. This cover is so cute. I love it. I don't know why. Like, I feel like the illustration, she just looks beautiful, but it says on it, sometimes love needs a reboot, which I think is so, so cute. 8 years ago, he fell in love with a stranger he couldn't have. Today, she's back in his life and the sparks fly between them, threatening to set her career on fire. Oh goodness, that sounds like a will they, won't they, like kind of forbidden romance thing. Yes, I am definitely here for that. I am actually behind on Ashley Herring Blake's books as well. So I have Iris Kelly Doesn't Date, which is the latest one, and then Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail. I quite enjoyed the first book, Delilah Green Doesn't Care, and I haven't really heard all that much about these other 2, but I'm also very disconnected from hearing about books for some reason. This one is a fake relationship after a horrible one-night stand. That sounds dramatic. And then this one is about an interior designer. I remember this one. It's one of the characters, the main characters from Delilah Green, but she is never without the perfect plan and learns to renovate her love life. Ooh, that's fun. So these sound really good, and yeah, Ashley Herring Blake just does a really good job with romances, at least from the one that I've read so far. Next is another carryover from last month, and that is Defiant by Brandon Sanderson. I am filming this before the actual end of the month, obviously, because when this is going up, the month hasn't even ended yet, but that is besides the point. Basically, I might end up squeezing this one in at the very, very end of the month or at the beginning of next month. We'll see. It is definitely a priority for me. This is the 4th and I think final book to the Skyward Quartet. If it is the final book, then it is a quartet, but I have really loved this series. I'm not huge on series or sequels, so it is quite a bit for me to say that I like a series, and I'm really excited for this one. I'm looking forward to seeing where the characters are ending up. Next is Just My Type by Phelan Baylard. This is a romance between 2 journalists. It's like a workplace romance, and it seems very, very cute, and honestly, the title adorable. Next is A Marvelous Light by Freya Marsk. I've heard very, very good things about this one. I know it's super hyped up on TikTok from what I've seen at least, but it is a historical male-male romance, and that's not something that you generally get. So I am very much looking forward to this one. I don't know if it has a magical element. I feel like I generally expect historical romances that look like this to have some sort of magical element because they usually do, but I think it does actually. Yeah, yes, it looks like it does. A Hidden Magical Society. Amazing. Next is the Meet Cute Project by Rhiannon Richardson. I have had this for a very long time. Like, this is an ARC and it came out January 2021, so yikes. But I think it sounds absolutely adorable, like setting up meet cutes and everything. Meet cutes just seem perfect for romances, obviously. Big fan of them, so what better time of year to read this in than like the romantic time? Next is The Dating Plan by Sarah Desai. I felt like a dating, you know, everything about this title just made me think of romance, obviously, and Valentine's Day. It is a step-by-step plan with fake fiancés that might accidentally fall for each other, which just sounds hilarious and amazing. And then I have two more fiction books. So we have Ink Blood Sister Scribe by Amy, or sorry, why can't I read? That doesn't say Amy, that says Emma. Emma Torres? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. This seems like the kind of fantasy that I generally love. It's about writing and books, and I love a good bookish fantasy. Like, it's just metafiction, love it. And it's also about sisters, which is another thing that I really enjoy. And then the final fiction book that I have here is Read Between the Lines by Rachel Lacey. This is once again a bookish romance. We have a bookstore in here, but essentially the main character is hoping to have a romance like in the books that she reads, which is just perfect for the vibes of this time of year. I know I've said that a million times, but whatever. And now for the final books, a few self-help books here. So we have The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this book, and I actually have a version of it specifically for writing, but I think I would like to start off with the original. This has been kind of going viral on TikTok lately, and yeah, I'm definitely very intrigued because I am very much in my like creativity and trying to really nurture that era, as you guys will see in some upcoming videos, but I have been all about that lately, so you'll kind of see that reflected in these books. Next is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. One of you, like, I obviously wanted to read this because I have it, but one of you commented saying that you were jealous of me for being able to read it for the first time, and I was like, okay, that really makes me want to read it. So this is another story about creativity, or not story. My thoughts were ahead of what I was actually saying. It is a book, like a nonfiction self-help book, obviously, but it is about creative living beyond fear, and it is a must-read for anyone hoping to live a creative life. So I definitely would like to try this out. That high praise from one of you makes me want to read it like immediately. But I'm currently reading another book and it's kind of similar, and I don't want to read too many that are too similar at the same time and then get them confused. Next is Play, and this is by Stuart Brown. This was mentioned, I think, it was either in Brene Brown's special that she did on Netflix, or I'm pretty sure that it was mentioned in her book, is it The Gifts of Imperfection? I can't find it on my little cart over here, but I think that that's the book that this was mentioned in. And it is about play, obviously, how it shapes the brain, opens the imagination, and invigorates the soul. I'm actually currently reading, what is it? Something about fun. Why can't I think of anything right now? I'll put a picture of it on the screen, but I'm currently reading that one and am finding it very interesting. And like I said, I'm in this real like creative and just enjoying life and trying to bring more things of enjoyment to my free time era. So this seems like the perfect book for reading with where my head's at now. I do have quite a few more productivity books that I would like to read eventually, but I really am trying to focus on the ones that are feel good, just based on what I'm needing right now. But that being said, I do have here 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman. This is Embrace Your Limits, Change Your Life, Time Management for Mortals. So I feel like time management is definitely something that I could always benefit from, and it seems like something that I will be able to use, even though I am kind of in this more like creative mindset. I think that this is advice that I could utilize either way. And then the final book here is Dopamine Nation by Anna Lembke. Wow, that's a really hard name to say. I apologize. Dr. Anna Lembke, actually. because it says MD. Sorry, I butchered all of that. But this is all about finding balance in the age of indulgence. It kind of is reminding me a little bit of Stolen Focus, which I read last year and found very, very interesting. But as much as I am enjoying this kind of play mindset, I also do want to make sure that I have balance. And balance is something I've talked about a lot, that I'm always seeking. So I feel like this book might help me out. Also, I'm pretty sure, I don't want to say I know because I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that dopamine is like really important for ADHD, so I think it could be interesting for me to read. And those are all the books that I am hoping to read in February. I have really big reading plans apparently, which is interesting because my year of reading has honestly gotten off to kind of a slow start. Not a bad start necessarily, but a slower start than I would like, and a slower start than I was expecting. But please let me know if you have read any of these books already, your thoughts on them, as well as what you are planning on reading in February, because I would love to know. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in another new one very soon. Bye!